Thank you for visiting Commando Krav Maga's website. And the purpose of this video is just to give you an overview of, I suppose, my experience and what we can offer you. Now, the website's a little bit crowded, but that's because I've sort of done a lot of things. Okay. I'll just give you a quick past, present, future. So my background originally was in boxing. My father was the Queensland State champion. I was the main sparring partner for a lot of the Queensland champs back in the 70s. And I've also fought professional fighters as well. Then I joined Taekwondo, originally under Grandmaster Chongchul Ri, which I became a senior instructor, one of the original instructors with Chongchul. Then I resigned from Chongchul and joined Grandmaster Yun, who was the chairman of technique worldwide for the International Taekwondo Federation. I actually brought ITF to Townsville under his banner, the Master Yun International Taekwondo Federation. He then resigned from the ITF, which was General Choi, or General Che, as they say, but General Choi I've always known it as, and he was the founder of Taekwondo. Then Grandmaster Yun actually resigned from the ITF, and then he formed Yun Jun Do, and that was back in 1989, and I was one of the founding instructors of Yun Jun Do. So you'll see me on a lot of the original brochures, and we were on the original advertising and the cinemas and everything else like that. And I established Yun Jun Do in Townsville. And I was an international instructor when actually we went to Papua New Guinea, connected up with our good friend John Chiley over there. And as time went on, I resigned from Yun Jun Do, and I then established the International Taekwondo Federation. Oh, sorry, not the International Taekwondo Federation, the International Self-Defense Association. That's right. There's so many different things I've done. So then, after 5 years, we had a bit of trouble with a few of the martial art characters, and basically I had to, depart from that scene and leave the various characters who were basically corrupt, leave them in behind in the history. And then I basically established my own organisation. And I have a couple of senior masters that I relate to these days, but these days I don't really delve with the characters in the past much, because trouble is a lot of them never run their own business. And my problem has always been that I only associate with people with integrity. Those people who prove to me they've got no integrity, well, I just show them the back door and they're gone. So what have I got to offer you? Well, the other thing that my other qualifications, I do have a med science degree in chiropractic. I have a master's in dry needling, so I've got a full medical training background. I spent 6 years at university as a mature age student. And now, believe it or not, I've actually got a stock market trading business as well. So I've done a lot of things, including I had my own health centre with over 2,000 members, programmed thousands of people. Also, and that was in Townsville, Healy's Family Fitness Centre, and promoted the Mr. Universes and what have you. And at that time, I had over 100 martial arts students. Then in 2007, I brought Commando Krav Maga here to Australia as one of the original instructors to bring Krav Maga to Australia. 2007, I brought Monty Isaac here, who was a commando in the Israeli army. And then after that, I was involved in bringing Major Arvey here in about 2010. Although Monty was, he was my favourite really as far as what he was teaching. Then basically I merged. So what I did was I've got a very good background in boxing, so the hands were pretty good. And I've taught boxers and all this sort of thing. So that skill set's already there. And myself and Dad were as part of the Boxing Hall of Fame, and we sponsored, various events, or were part of the sponsorship, actually. So number one is this here. Number one is boxing. That's the base of what I teach people. Now, I'm 71 this year, but I've still got the skill set. So I technically teach people how to, box, how to do this, how to do that, right? And number two is the background in martial arts. Now that's like 25 or maybe 30 years. The years go so fast. So after boxing, I, focused on the Taekwondo, which is really good for the kicks and what have you. So that was like 15 years with 2 Grand Masters and as a professional instructor as well, and as an international instructor as well with Yun Jin Do, and also as a founding instructor of Yun Jin Do. So, we put money into the whole setup. So there's no disputing the history, and all the photographs are there anyhow. And anyway, my certification as a master is recognised by Grandmaster Peter Wong, who's still, I think, in the ITF. So I've got several references and all that sort of stuff. So, what I've done in the past is made certain that I've been recognised with the appropriate people, because there's a lot of scammers in martial arts. Anyway, getting back to the Commando Krav Maga. When Monty Isaac came out to Australia, when I brought him here, we've trained federal police and local police and just civilians as well. And Monty, because I was also, what I didn't mention here, I was in the airlines for 10 years as a load controller, so that was a high pressure job. And Monty recognised my organisational skills and immediately made me National Director of Commando Krav Maga. So the year after I brought Monty out here, 2007, I think it was, 2008, I did a national workshop. I went from Brisbane to Sydney to Melbourne, over to Perth even, and I ran seminars right through the country. And then I merged Commando Krav Maga in with my skill set. So where are we now? That's what you want to know. So there's a lot of experience there, but it's not just in one art. It's in boxing, which is a very good combat art and skillful. And I come from a line of boxers. My grandfather was a professional boxing coach and a professional boxer as well. And then the Taekwondo, of course, which is, the Bruce Lee style kicks. And I've got Bruce Lee in the background. Bruce Lee is Enter the Dragon, or The Way of the Dragon, with Chuck Norris. That was the reason why all of us joined martial arts. I'm in that vintage where it was the Bruce Lee movies that got us to join martial arts. I can remember looking at The Way of the Dragon. Was it The Enter the Dragon or The Way of the Dragon? One of those. Anyway, at the Colosseum. And I could never figure out that kick, what Bruce Lee used to say, dragon, whip's tail. It was a spinning heel kick. I never knew that back then. I was just boxing. And when I saw that kick, I thought, I want to be able to do that. And that's why I joined Taekwondo, because they knew all the spinning kicks, and they were the experts with the feet techniques, and they still are. My associates in the ITF are still pretty good kickers and all that. So I specialise in spinning heel kicks. Eventually, I mastered the spinning heel kick, especially. I could put a spinning heel kick on anyone at any time, at any place. And I did. Getting back to the main theme. So where I am now, it's Healy's integrated, I've really got it here, instant counterattack, and I'll explain that to you. So it's Healy's integrated combat solutions is what I've evolved into with all that background. And what it is, there is only, out of all the techniques out there, there's only a certain set that actually work. There's like a handful of techniques like boxing, straight, left, right, cross, rip and hook. That's it. It's just how good you can do them and your timing. Same with the kicks. There's only front kick, half turning kick, full turning kick, back kick, side kick, and spinning heel kick or spinning hook kick, the few variations. but the basic ones are the ones that you've got to focus on. And so the gap I always found was the, between long distance, which is kicking, medium distance, which is boxing, and then what happens if someone grabs you? Well, that's when the commando Krav Maga came in, because Monty Isaac, who was the founder of Commando Krav Maga, he was a seventh Dan in Japanese Jiu-Jitsu, and he was the heavyweight champion of Israel. Now, if anyone knows about Israel, they're fighting terrorists all the time, as you know. So these guys it's not competition for them. They're training for permanent life defense in the IDF army. So the Israelis are one of the elite special soldiers in the world. They're very much like the Gurkhas. And when they learn something or they teach something, it's for real. So as I evolved through the various systems, I realized that now, you got to bear in mind also that I've trained with the original masters with Taekwondo, not just as a couple of seminars or something, but as a full-time student, especially with Grandmaster Ewan. I trained full-time with him, I think we went 4 months, 3 to 4 months when we founded Yun Jun Do. And that was, I'd given up my work. I was training in the dojo, just like the Karate Kid, cold showers, sleep on the floor, all that sort of stuff, right? Now, the Grandmaster Yun and Grandmaster Chong Chul Ri, who's now passed away, they're ex-army. They're ex-Korean army. They're in their days, their style of kicking was one hit, must drop them. They weren't doing this flippy floppy stuff you see today. They weren't doing the fancy looking sports stuff. They were doing combat training. So their kicks was annihilate the opponent with one strike. And I can remember with Chong Chul, I used to get on quite well with Chong Chul Ri. And I remember the many, Chinese dinners we had after gradings and that. I would always ask him various things, and Chong Chul would, I could tell you some stories. I won't go on this video, but I'll tell you a lot of stories. I could write a book about it, actually. But he would always say that, I can remember it was in the days when everyone was challenging everyone else. And I asked him about, what would happen, Master Ri, if a Kung Fu man came in to challenge you. And of course, the guys that know Ri, so the senior instructors that know Ri, he was deadly serious. He was in the Marine Commandos, the Demon Hunter Division. And Chong Chul would just come out and say, sidekick. They don't think anything fancy. They just hit hard, and they hit with their most powerful kick, and they get that one on you, you're gone, right? So that mentality is what real self-defense is all about. Now, what I've done is I've sort of, it's Healy's integrated combat, but I call it instant counter attack. So if you're in a self-defense situation, number one, forget about going to ground like all the jiu-jitsu guys and all that. Once you're on the ground, you're going to get into big trouble because people can kick you and jump all over you and do all sorts of things. So how I train people these days, yes, you're going to learn the skills of boxing, the basic kicks of Taekwondo / Yun Jun Do, the basic commando Krav Maga techniques, which of course involve gun disarming, knife disarming, grabs and holds, and getting out of locks and holds as well. We were the stuff they're doing in the UFC now. We were training people how to counter that, almost 20 years ago, or 2007, is that 20 years ago, back in 2007. So we learned all that stuff then. And it wasn't about competing. It was about getting out of a situation. And as Monty Isaac said to me, these are combat soldiers. These are blokes who know life and death, right? And on that point, I made front page of the news 1985, fully blown armed robbery defence. A guy come in with a loaded shotgun to do me over. at a service station, and that made front page news. Of course, it wasn't easy, that particular conflict, but you can read about it on my website. So, I've got experience when I'm teaching people. I'm teaching people from real experience, not some, fantasy in my head or watching videos or something. I've applied what I'm talking about, not just in that situation, 1985, but several situations since. So the key to the Healy system is, yes, we're learning all the techniques, the basics, those integrated basics, so that we can bridge the gap and all that. But what I'm teaching you is how to neutralize an attacker with one main strike in the right place. Could be one or two. And I will show you. And when I'm demonstrating to people and showing, I'm not trying to put you in through a big conditioning, getting you running around up the hills and all that sort of, if you want condition work, you go and do it yourself. I'm teaching you the technique of how to do the various things, like, boxing, sort of how to do the punches without gloves on, with gloves on. And I will teach you the technique and how to get the power strikes the right place and all that, and integrate it into open hand techniques. Very simple from my point of view, because I've done it 1,000 times, hundreds of thousands of times. Maybe not as simple for the beginner, but they have to learn. You have to repeat. It's just like Bruce Lee said. He doesn't fear a man who knows 10,000 techniques. He fears a man who knows one particular kick and can do it 10,000 times. So you get one kick and you practice that kick 10,000 times and bang, you hit it every time. That's more dangerous than someone who's learned a whole lot of stuff and gets confused at the first thing that happens, in reality happens. So you consolidate very tried and proven techniques, and that's what I'm teaching in the Healy's integrated system. At 71, with 50 years experience behind me, I'm teaching you what works. And just as a little note, and this is unofficial, I've defended myself from street gang members even up to 2 years ago. And that's a story I'll tell you personally. But, I've had characters try and threaten me, and that lasts about 10 seconds. So, and also in saying that, I also understand, I was in all the different things I've done, I actually was signing up to be a lawyer as well, which I might still do. It only take me 2 years with all my other qualifications. I teach you proportionate response. So, you've got Criminal Code 1899, which most instructors wouldn't even know what that is, but that's in any self-defense situation, you must react proportionately. So in the situation where I was defending myself against a loaded shotgun, the robber, the proportionate response was life-threatening to me. He had the weapon. Eventually I took it off him, of course, but, when my reaction, like kicking him in the groin and all this sort of stuff, that was proportionate because he had a gun. Now, a lot of these, even Krav Maga instructors, don't understand that too well either. We are not in Israel, although with the Bondi event and a few of these other things going on, you think we are now, and a lot of other things in Australia that I don't like at the moment regarding terrorism and what have you. But if you're defending yourself, you can only defend yourself to the point where you neutralise that attack and you don't go overboard. Because if you go to court, the proportionate response is recorded. Now, I've been through a lot of court cases and not one of them has stuck because I've always acted proportionately. So I will teach you all that. I will teach you what's proportionate and not proportionate. And there's no hype with me. I mean, it's like one of my best mates is the former 3 times light middleweight champion of Australia, professional boxing champion. His name's Neil Paddle, so you can look that up on the boxing.com or whatever. And I remember Neil, he could take someone out, one hit, no worries. And that was when he was a bouncer. He was a prison warden, all this sort of stuff. So what I'm teaching you is to be able to neutralize whoever they are, whatever they do, whatever they come at you with, neutralize them with one, usually one strike in the right spot, a vital point, of course. And or neutralize it to the point where you're out of danger. And also the training is, it's not all this hero stuff, because that just doesn't work. But the other training is, don't be going to places that you're going to be exposed to all sorts of criminals, like 3 o'clock in the morning in nightclubs with all the drunks. You're going to get trouble there. You're going to get people who are on drugs or whatever. So you've got to have a little bit of smarts about you when you're learning self-defense. And there are other methods that I teach that I won't be saying anything on this video about. So that gives you a bit of an overview. So what you get from me at the moment, I'm doing personalised training because I've got a whole lot of stuff on, and I had my shoulder dislocated last year, not from training. I fell off a ladder, but so that's all right now. So when I'm doing personal training with people, I will be showing you technique. There's no reason to fear anything, because I'm not trying to prove that I'm I'm not trying to prove I'm Bruce Lee over my shoulder or anything like that. I've got the experience, so I just teach you the technique. You learn the technique and you just practice, practice, practice. And when you got it right, I'll show you the application. And when you see the applications, you will realize, gee, you just don't know how dangerous someone can be that knows what I know. And then you will know what I know. And that's the same with the martial art masters that I've trained under, like Chong Chul Ri and Yan Q Yun and Monty Isaac and these guys. They're just deadly. And they aren't fazed by anything. People can talk all day, but at the end of the day, when it comes to delivering effective self-defense, you've really got to learn off people with experience and that haven't got these big egos, because self-defense is almost surgical. See, as I say, I've got a med science degree and I've also got a master's in dry needling. So when I'm doing the trigger points on people, I've got to know the anatomy that well that when I put an acupuncture needle in, and with the dry needling, it goes fairly deep, you've got to know where to put it. And you've got to know where that trigger point is, and you've got to know what to avoid, such as a lung cavity and all this, and the kidneys and everything else like that, and the arteries and the nerves. You've got to know where they all are. But in self-defense, you've got to know where those vital points are as well when you deliver techniques. You don't just deliver them anywhere. You deliver them to a specific point that will take out the biggest person and render them absolutely useless. And I've done that many times myself. So if that's what you want to learn, no ego about it. It's all technique training. You'll realise when I show you the various techniques that you think, oh God, you wouldn't want that used on anyone. And you have to use all these sort of techniques with proportionate responses. So that's Graham Healy. I hope I just did this video so that you've got a little bit of an idea. A lot of people ask me, what are you doing now and everything. So, well, I'm doing personalised training. And as I say, I've got a lot of other stuff on, but I still have got my hand in the martial arts training. And there's a little thing that we've got going in the background that I won't mention tonight, or I might mention it. We might be doing certain courses that are government recognised. So we'll just keep that one out under my hat at the moment. And so that's Graham Healy over now. Just give us a call, click on the, I'm interested below. And, we'll just do some personal training. I charge $150 an hour. But if you've got 2 people, it's a bit cheaper. If you've got 4 people, only up to 4, that's it. And, you'll enjoy what I'm teaching you. So it's life-saving stuff. So Graham Healy over and out. I hope this video gives you a little bit of an oversight of how I'm different from the rest. And I'm not doing classes at the moment. I just haven't got time. But I am organising a system where I can do what I call master classes and then do online backups where you can, you can see what the techniques are online, practice on the bag at home, and then we do these master classes. So I'm sort of working on that in the background. But at this point in time, I'm just doing personalized training, which you will see on the website. So click the link below and we'll have a chat from there. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this video. Graham Healy, founder of, Healy's Integrated Combat, and the founder of a lot of things over the years. Okay, have a great night, and God bless you all. Goodbye.